was predictable. Governments crumbled, economies collapsed, and society fractured. The news channels were a cacophony of fear-mongering and speculation. The general consensus was that we were doomed. The aliens, the Greys, were ignoring us. They were watching, probing, but offering no communication, no explanation, no salvation. I was with Lieutenant Dan, and we were trying to make sense of it all. We were holed up in a remote cabin in the hills far from the chaos of the cities. We had a telescope, a powerful one, and we were determined to understand what was happening. We needed a better vantage point. The cabin was good, but the hills offered a better view. We loaded up the four-wheel drive, packed the telescope, and headed up the winding mountain roads. The higher we climbed, the clearer the view became. The comet was a spectacle, a swirling mass of metallic structures, constantly spewing out drones. The drones, we soon realized, were the key. They were the workforce, the builders, the terraformers. They were the reason for our impending doom. The Greys, we never saw them directly. They were always out of sight, operating from the shadows. They were the puppeteers, and we were the puppets. The drones were everywhere. They were in the sky, in the oceans, and even underground. They were collecting resources, building structures, and altering the environment. They were efficient, relentless, and utterly indifferent to our existence. We spent weeks, months even, observing the comet, the drones, and the terraforming of Europa. We documented everything, taking notes, drawing diagrams, and trying to decipher the Greys' intentions. We knew we were insignificant to them. We were an afterthought, a minor inconvenience. They were focused on their grand project, and we were nothing more than a curious species. One night while observing the comet, we noticed something different, a new type of drone, unlike anything we'd seen before. It was larger, more complex, and seemed to be emitting a strange signal. We focused our telescope on it, trying to understand its purpose. The signal was complex, but we managed to isolate a pattern. It was a series of pulses, a form of communication. We were being contacted. The signal was directed at us. The Greys were finally acknowledging our existence, but why? What did they want? We spent days trying to decipher the message. It was a complex code, but with the help of Lieutenant Dan's technical expertise, we started to make progress. The message was a warning about the comet, the drones, and the terraforming of Europa. It was a warning about the end of our world. The message revealed the truth. The terraforming of Europa was not just a project, it was a weapon. The Greys were planning to use Europa to destroy Earth. The drones were not just builders, they were weapons of mass destruction. The comet was not just a factory, it was a doomsday device. We were the only ones who knew. We had to do something, but what could we do? We were just two men against an alien civilization. We decided to fight. We knew we were outmatched, but we couldn't just stand by and watch our world be destroyed. We had to try. We started by gathering information. We studied the drones, the comet, and the Greys' technology. We learned their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities. We knew we had to strike at the source, at the comet itself. It was a suicide mission, but it was our only hope. We prepared for our final stand. We modified our four-wheel drive, turning it into a makeshift weapon. We armed ourselves with whatever we could find. We drove towards the comet, towards our destiny. We knew we were going to die, but we were ready. We were ready to fight for our world, the final battle. We reached the comet and the drones swarmed us. We fought with everything we had, but we were overwhelmed. We were captured. We were taken aboard the comet. We were face to face with the Greys. They were not what we expected. They were not monsters, not conquerors. They were just different. The terraforming of Europa was not an act of aggression. It was a preparation. A larger threat was coming, a cosmic entity that would consume everything. The Greys were preparing Europa as a refuge, a sanctuary for humanity. We had been wrong. We had misunderstood everything. We were given a choice, join them or be left behind. We chose to join them. We became part of the solution, not the problem. We learned their technology, their ways, we became protectors of humanity. The end of the world was not the end. It was the beginning of a new era, an era of cooperation, an era of survival.